Hello, Gary Crowley here with DoItYourselfJointPainRelief.com, and this is video 4 of 4 videos showing you exercises for Chondromalacia Patella knee pain. Video 1, we released your quads, had you assess how tight they were. Video 2, we released your tensor fasciae lata and your adductors and your sartorius a little bit. And your tibialis anterior. Video 3, we did your hamstrings, the back of your knee, your calves, and we had you at least look at your feet to make sure they're not totally out of whack, so that they're causing that knee to drift in. And now in video 4, I'm going to show you 3 hip stretches that we're going to use both to stretch your hips and assess how tight they are. And wherever they're really tight, I tend to use a ball or two to really get in those tight spots using that tennis ball press technique that we've been doing the whole time. That's on my techniques page if you need to look. But this will really focus on any of those tight spots we notice when we do the 3 stretches I'm going to show you. So the first stretch I'm going to show you is just a reclined hip stretch, and it's very simple. You cross one leg over the other. Whatever arm on the side of the leg that is crossed, you're going to take that arm, you're going to shoot it over your shin. Okay, everybody starts trying to do just as best you can. Shoot it over your shin. Then you take this other hand, you reach through the hole in your legs, and you grab that, and then you kind of pull on that, and you will feel this deep in your whole glute on this side. It's a great stretch. You can stay here for 10, 15, 20 seconds if you want. And if you can only do that much, then you do that much. If you can only do that much, then you do that much. If you're somewhere in between, then you do that. And you'll find if you do this stretch regularly, very quickly, you'll become very bendy. Your hips will be different, because this hip is always tighter on me, because I'm right leg dominant, and probably the way I sit and move and drive, this hip gets tighter. But what we're going to do is, when you notice a really tight spot in your hips, like this might feel pretty loose, but you notice a band here that's really tight. What I want you to do is I want you to get a tennis ball or a baseball or whatever. Different balls fit better in different spots of your hips, depending on how much cushion you're sitting on and how much cushion you personally provide with your own butt. A different ball in different places is going to really get those spots well. So this table's a little cushy. Tennis ball on this table lower is okay, but if I want to get an upper spot a little higher, this girl's softball is actually pretty good. And what I do is I, with my body weight, find that tender spot, and then again, tennis ball press technique. The ball is staying in one spot. You're not massaging that tissue. Your brain doesn't get massage when you want to release things. That ball presses in one spot, and then you make that muscle function that the ball is pressing into, and your brain starts going, oh, he really does. Now, actually, to be honest with you, that isn't quite working right there. So since I have a bunch of other spots, let's see this. See, actually, if I put enough weight in, you got to play around a little bit, but there, that tennis ball gets in there nicely, right there. And there it goes. And then let's say I did the other side, and you can even just, just play around and find some tender spots. Now way up there, there's one. I get in there pretty well with the tennis ball, but no, that tennis ball doesn't work there. I mean, any ball will work, but if you want to really just know your body and know that this is your spot and this is the thing that best releases it, it's a good thing to kind of play around, go to Sports Authority, buy 5 or 6 balls, and see what works the best. So that's the first stretch, hip stretch and assess. The second stretch is this seated stretch, and your legs are roughly at 90 degrees and 90 degrees. Let me not kick my stuff out of the way here. There you go. And never want to feel this in your knee. And if you want, you can flex your toes back when you do this. But basically, if you do feel it in your knee, just move your foot up or down to a place where you don't feel it in your knee. But basically, you're going to sit 90-90, lean forward, basically over that ankle, and you'll probably feel that deep in your butt cheek, and maybe here, depending on how tight you are. So you can just do that stretch, and you can go back. You can kind of aim at different spots, and like I go more this way, I'll feel it more there. but I also feel it deep, deep in my hip if I do that. And then you switch up, you do the other side. And again, you can do this on the floor, you can do it on, you know, a mat if you have a gym, anything like that. And again, now me, I notice this right hip, which is always a little tighter on me, deep, deep down, kind of at the bottom here, where I can get lots of body weight on it. It's kind of tight. So now I notice how tight that is, and I'd stretch a little more. You know, stretch it as best you can. See if, but when you feel like you've gotten what you're going to get out of the stretching, break out a ball, and then find that, lay on that tender spot. Some spots you can put a lot of body weight on, and there it goes. And basically, this is around the head of my femur, my big leg bone, and that tight tissue around the head of my femur, that's going to make my femur not be free enough to function the way it wants, and my knee's going to drift off course a little bit, and that's going to make my knee work in a way that it wasn't designed to work, and then my knee's going to hurt. So that's stretch 2. Stretch 3, very simply, is we're mostly checking almost that tensor fasciae lata muscle. So you sit with your legs straight, cross one leg over the other, whatever leg is crossed over, the arm from the other side of your body comes across, pulls on that. I'm pretty good here, probably because I just released that. Let's see what I get over this side. So the arm from the other side of the body comes over. That's pretty good. If I wanted to be really picky, I'd probably again take my belt off. And I like a tennis ball on my tensor fasciae lata, upper glute area. And if I'm trying to be picky, I could work on that a little bit. Maybe that's about a little bit. That's pretty good. And to get that ball, get that tissue to move under that ball, I really got to bring this leg up. But again, you do the best you can. If you can only do that, then that's good too. So those are the 3 stretches and the way to assess. And then basically, look, if all you have is a tennis ball, use a tennis ball. But if your kids or your dog or whatever has a few balls laying around, that's a lacrosse ball, which sometimes does the trick. It's good for the bottom of your feet too. But just use whatever ball you can to get in there. Do the tennis ball press technique. Again, that ball presses in one tight spot. The ball doesn't move. The tissue you're pressing on is forced to function a little bit, and then your brain says, oh, they want to use that muscle, I better release it and make it more functional. So that is video 4 of 4 videos on your chondromalacia, patella, knee pain exercises. And now I encourage you to just take a second and first of all notice how much better your chondromalacia knee pain might be. And then number 2, go back, okay, video 1, what was tight, what needs more work, and what seemed to get me the most release in that knee. Video 2, same thing, what was tight, what really seemed to help my knee. Video 3, how much did releasing those hamstrings, back of the knee, calf, and do my feet need a little extra help. Again, you can always go to my foot pain relief page where I have 3 videos just on the foot. You can spend a lot of time on your foot, and it's good if you need it. And then in video 4, what stretches seem to help? What stretches really showed where I need work? Like me, my right hip. My right hip is far tighter than my left hip, and that probably plays into maybe some of the way if I run a little bit, this leg probably isn't tracking quite as nicely as it could, and then everything in this whole leg has to work a little differently than it was designed to work, and things start getting inflamed and annoyed when certain parts of your body that were designed to work a certain way are then suddenly being asked to work a different way. It's kind of that simple. So if you free all this stuff from here to here, and in you'll have different patterns than other people, but you free the 1 or 2 or maybe 3 areas that are really tight, I do think that your chondromalacia can be gone, and I do think you can have the tools you need in your back pocket in the future if it comes back to go, oh no, I just released my vastus lateralis, even if you don't know the names, no, I just released this muscle here and then my knee stops hurting. And that is ultimately what I want for you, is for you to have the tools at your fingertips to be able to get rid of your pain when you need to. So those are the 4 videos. I do hope they were helpful. I do hope they were worth your time. And I look forward to hearing how it all went. Thanks. Bye.